Hey everyone, and welcome to the ATA podcast. I'm Matt Baird.
And I'm Andy Ho. This podcast is brought to you by the American Translators Association. Each month, we bring you news and insights from ATA. We look at what's happening across the association, explore the benefits of membership, and discuss the translation and interpreting professions.
That's right. You know, the T&I industry is always changing, and we hope this podcast will help you keep up with it. ATA was founded over 60 years ago to advance the translation and interpreting professions and foster the professional development of individual translators and interpreters. We have nearly 9,000 members in more than 100 countries.
If you'd like to know more about ATA, we'll have some information for you at the end of the show. And you'll also find links in the notes.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this special edition of the ATA podcast. Today we get to meet the candidates for this year's elections. ATA will hold its regularly scheduled elections on October 26th at our 64th annual conference this year in Miami, Florida. But you don't have to be in Miami to vote. The elections are online. You just need to be an ATA voting member. If you're not sure if you're a voting member, log into your account at atanet.org to find out. And if you're not a voting member, becoming one is easy. Any ATA associate member who can demonstrate that they are professionally engaged in translation, interpreting, or closely related fields may apply for voting membership. All you have to do is complete and submit the ATA Active Membership Review application. No additional paperwork is required. It's fast, free, and easy, and you'll find a link in the show notes. One thing to note is that the date of record this year is October 5th. That means you have to submit your application on or before that date to be eligible to vote in this year's election. This year we are electing a president-elect, a secretary, treasurer, each for 2-year terms, as well as 3 directors, each for a 3-year term. In this second of 2 podcasts, you will hear from 5 of the 6 candidates running for director. If you'd like to learn more about these candidates, you'll find their statements in the September-October issue of the ATA Chronicle. Now, we asked each candidate to answer the following 4 questions. Number 1, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you based, and what kind of translation or interpreting work do you do? Number 2, when did you join ATA and why? Number 3, why are you running for ATA office? And finally, what is an area of ATA where you feel you can have the most impact if elected? All right, here are your 2023 candidates.
Hello, I'm Yasmin Alkashef. I'm an ATA certified Arabic English translator originally from Cairo, Egypt. I was a translator and a conference interpreter in Egypt and the Middle East until my family moved to the US. I'm now based in Oregon, where I'm a certified court interpreter and a conference interpreter. I also work in translation and localization. I have a master's degree in translation studies and a PhD in interpreting studies, both from Ain Shams University in Egypt. I taught translation there at Ain Shams University, as well as the American University in Cairo. I now teach interpreting as an adjunct instructor at New York University's Master's Program in Translation and Interpreting and the University of Massachusetts Online Certificate in Translation and Interpreting. I've always had a passion for languages. I started working in small translation firms when I was only 19, and I fell in love with this profession ever since. This amazing profession has opened my eyes to the world and has taken me to so many places. I'm a mother of 2 kids, an 11-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. I first joined ATA in 2013, but then I left the US for a couple of years and I rejoined in 2015, as soon as my family moved back to Oregon. I've been working in translation and interpreting all my professional life, but when I moved here, I had a challenge. I was looking for a way to access the US market. And the first thought I had was to join the ATA. I became a member and I took the certification exam as soon as I found an opportunity to do that. And I passed. Very soon after that, I realized I was right. Being on the ATA directory of certified translators has opened many doors for me. and it has brought me so many clients from the US and from around the world. I believe freelance translation and interpreting can be a very lonely profession sometimes, but being part of a community of practice like ATA overcomes this problem. I have made so many wonderful friends from ATA. Well, I'm running because I think I bring value to the table. I have been on ATA board for the last year. I was aware that some languages enjoy a more prominent position on the board, while the voices representing other languages are not always there. As a professional working with one of these less prevalent languages, I made sure that my voice was heard. I have also worked on some interesting initiatives. I work on a project that aims at reaching out to translation and interpreting institutions, so newcomers to this profession know about ATA and become members early in their careers. I hope to continue working on this project, and I hope soon we will start to see its impact on the membership structure. It will also help that after the annual conference, I will be the incoming chair of the Education and Pedagogy Committee. Other than being on the board, I volunteer in various capacities within ATA. I have worked alongside many colleagues and I have learned a lot from them. I am a member of the ATA Professional Development Committee and the Membership Committee, as well as the Interpreters Division. I am also the outgoing Assistant Administrator of the Arabic Division. Together with my colleagues in ALD Leadership Council, we tried our best to support Arabic translators and interpreters. For example, we had a competition that aimed at overcoming the scarcity of interpreter training material in Arabic. And we also hosted many professional development opportunities and webinars catering for the specific needs of Arabic linguists. I believe I'm equipped to have an impact as a director in a number of ways. I have a diverse background, having worked in the Middle East and in the US and in different places within both markets. I also have my academic background as well as years of hands-on experience. I believe I can leverage this experience to help the ATA board. I can bring new insights into the board discussions and decision-making. For example, this diverse background offers me a good understanding of translators and interpreters and their needs at different stages of their careers. That's why bridging the gap between the world of professional translation and interpreting and the world of educational institutions is an area of interest to me. We need to see more of the younger professionals within our organization. They need ATA because it will support them establish themselves as in the market. And by joining ATA, they can find the resources that will help them and the mentors that will support them and the community that will always be there for them. I'm also an organized person and a very good listener. I'm good at problem solving and planning ahead. All these skills is what I would gladly put in use for our organization. I would like to see ATA as an organization and as a community of practice ready for the challenges of the future. And of course, at the top of these is artificial intelligence. We need to see how we will embrace the technology and at the same time continue to be indispensable for our clients. Finally, I would be honored to serve again on the ATA board, and I would like to thank you for this opportunity to speak here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Analía, Bogdan. I am going to tell you a little bit about myself. I currently live in Miami, Florida, with my husband and my 2 daughters. My career started in Argentina, where I became a sworn translator. I got a degree from the University of Buenos Aires. But before that, I worked for 10 years in the banking industry. I obtained a certification as an investment advisor and worked for the asset management department of a bank for several years. That is how I became a translator specialized in finance and economy. I knew the industry from within. Apart from finance, I had another area of interest, technology. So I was a regular member of the technology and financial divisions of the Buenos Aires Translators Association and other international associations, including ADA. My specialization was considered of national interest in the United States, and that led me to my permanent residency in this country. As soon as I got here, I immediately started working as a linguist for a major US bank, and I also served as treasurer for the Association of Translators and Interpreters of Florida. And that really equipped me with a lot of new knowledge about associations. I am currently a head linguist for a company, and I also serve other translation clients from the financial industry. I joined the ADA 6 years ago while I was still in Argentina. And why did I join? Well, by that time, I already understood that if you wanted to make a positive impact in our profession, the associations were the place to be. So I was definitely eager to connect with this huge international association, connect with like minded professionals, exchange knowledge, and learn from such a diverse membership that the ADA has. And so far, being an ADA member has definitely exceeded that initial expectation. I'm running as ADA director because I know I can offer experience, enthusiasm, a lot of commitment, and hard work to the ADA's board of directors. Having served as treasurer for the ATIF for 2 years has given me invaluable insights into the inner workings of an association. At the same time, currently working full time as a translator and having done so for the past 15 years puts me in a good position to understand the needs and challenges of our fellow professionals. If elected, my main impact will be on human translation embracing technology. I am truly committed to exploring, integrating, and adapting to technology, and in helping members overcome technological changes and challenges they are facing so they can actually use technology to improve their quality and productivity. I will advocate for the recognition and appreciation of human translators. I will do this through effective education and communication to stakeholders because I believe we have to be part of the technological conversation so we are not left behind. I am also highly interested in professional development programs for our members and in exchanging best practices. I am a true fan of the ADA annual conference experience, so I will strive to ensure ADA's annual conference remains the gold standard for knowledge sharing and professional growth.
Hello, I am Daniel Sebesta. I am originally from the Czech Republic and I divide my time between Chicago, upstate New York, where I went to business school and where my husband is from, Prague in the Czech Republic, and the rest of the world as I really enjoy traveling and have been to 99 countries as of today. My working languages are English, German, French, Slovak, and of course my native Czech. And I specialize in business, marketing, law, and technology. In addition to translation, I write and speak about language technology and consult with companies in the language industry on questions around pricing and strategy. I joined ATA in 2006. This was shortly after I started translating full time, and I was also enrolled in a full time master's program in linguistics at the same time. I always had this urge to be a part of a professional community in whatever field I wanted to pursue pricing, numismatics, and of course, our language professions. An association like ATA is a place to learn and engage with peers, which I think is all the more important in rather solitary professions such as translation, and in running a freelance business where you don't have a conventional career path laid out for you by your employer. I have been attending ATA conferences since 2009, and ATA 50 in New York City back then was not only my first ATA conference, it was also the first conference I ever spoke at as a presenter. Since 2018, I have been involved with the language technology division because I believe technology is such an essential part of how productive and profitable we can be as linguists and how much value we can create for our clients. You may also know my name from ATA's mentoring program. and from the interviews I have conducted for the Inside Specialization series of ATA's podcast. Just like many of us, I have benefited greatly from my membership in ATA and other associations throughout my career, and volunteering in different roles, not just on the board, is a way for me to pay it forward. I believe we stand at a very pivotal point in the history of our professions and our industry. The very fragmented market has gone through a wave of consolidation, but perhaps the most impactful driver of changes in our livelihoods is technology. Technology in the hands of skilled experts like us can help increase productivity and create even more value for our clients or employers, especially in this era of ubiquitous machine translation. ATA, as one of the largest professional associations in our industry worldwide, with some 9,000 members, can and should lead the way into this tech-augmented future. If elected, I pledge to steer our association towards an industry that embraces meaningful, productive, and ethical use of language technology. This involves educating ourselves first and foremost about the opportunities and risks involved in technology, and conveying such an informed opinion to our customers and the general public. I believe a seat on ATA's board, in addition to my other roles within ATA and the industry, would give me some of the tools needed to get these points across. As the incoming administrator of ATA's Language Technology Division, I believe I can have the most impact on the technology front. I understand that many of us feel overwhelmed by the pace of change and even threatened in our livelihoods by machine translation and generative AI and the changing behaviors of our clients. We need to understand that AI is not going anywhere. The hype may subside, but the general trend will be one of improvement of these tools and broader adoption. We have to make the best of the situation. Instead of fearing these technologies as our replacement, we can choose to see them as productivity boosters, which in the hands of us as experts can help us add more value for our customers. This requires not only educating our customers about the limitations of these tools, but also educating ourselves about the opportunities that they present and about how we can integrate them in our workflows. With technology in general, it's not a perfect versus useless dichotomy. There is a lot of space in between where we can squeeze a lot of benefit out of a tool, and that is exactly what we need to focus on. And let me close with one statement. It is not AI, it is not machine translation that is coming after your job. It is your competitors who know how to use these things to their advantage.
Hello, my name is Robert Sette. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, but for the past decade I've lived in Denver, Colorado. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast interview. I'm currently completing a 3-year term on the ATA Board of Directors, and I'm now running for re-election to another 3-year term. I hold ATA certification in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and Italian to English, and I also translate from Catalan to English. I'm primarily a translator, though in the past I've done project management work. I've taught translation courses at the University of Pittsburgh and at Kent State University, and I've even done some occasional interpreting throughout my 34 years in the language services professions. I currently also serve as the president of the ATA chapter in Colorado, the Colorado Interpreters and Translators Association, also known as Sette. I frequently speak at the ATA conference as well as other industry conferences in the US and in Europe. I really love the translation profession. I consider myself to be very fortunate that I've been able to work as a translator for my entire adult career, and most of it as a full-time freelance language professional. In my free time, I enjoy camping and woodworking, and of course I love to travel. I like to explore craft breweries and the occasional winery, whether in my home state or in other cities or countries when I do travel. And lastly, I enjoy volunteering with animal rescue organizations. I foster dogs that are up for adoption, and I also enjoy using my foreign language skills as a volunteer ambassador at Denver International Airport, helping to welcome visitors from around the U.S. and the world to our great state of Colorado. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with a bachelor's degree in Spanish and French and a certificate in professional translation. After graduation, as I started to explore work opportunities, I asked my instructors and mentors for advice on how to make inroads into the profession. Their immediate reply was to tell me to join ATA, and so I did. And I've never looked back. I've never second-guessed that decision. I think I first joined ATA thinking, what was in it for me? I saw it as a resource for learning skills and even reaching potential clients through the ATA directory, which at that time was a printed book that was mailed out once a year to all members. The good old days. After attending an ATA conference or two, I saw that ATA was so much more. It was about meeting fellow translators and interpreters and even potential clients in person at ATA conferences. It was about building relationships and friendships, sharing knowledge and experience with others, and having a professional home that I shared with my T&I colleagues. And after some time, after a few years, I found that although I was still learning, there were people who were newer than me, and I could help mentor them and share my knowledge with them. Even today, I feel it's important to pay back all that experience that was shared with me, and I try to go out of my way to be involved in mentoring newer translators, whether it's through a program like our Buddies Meet Newbies program at the ATA conference or other mentoring opportunities. This really is the most rewarding part of my ATA involvement to this day. I've had the honor and privilege to serve on the ATA board these past 3 years. I'm running for re-election now so that I can continue to work for the advancement of our professions and to promote educational, networking, and training opportunities. As a full-time independent translator, I feel that I can contribute my perspective and represent my colleagues who are also independent interpreters and translators. We freelance professionals account for 3/4 of ATA members, and I always try to think of how ATA can better serve and provide relevant benefits for this important segment of our profession. I've been serving on the Professional Development Committee during my first term on the board, and I served as conference organizer for ATA's first one-day virtual conference on machine translation, post-editing, and AI technology held last May. That event brought together over 500 ATA members and guests from around the world. I hope to work to promote the success of future virtual conferences during my next term on the board. I also support and frequently host professional development webinars. I think that our virtual events are a great benefit for many members as we seek to become more specialized and confront ongoing technological changes. I want to promote ATA to the many translators and interpreters in the U.S. who are not part of the association. In my mind, there are just 2 categories of translators and interpreters, those who are ATA members and those who are potential ATA members. Unfortunately, we've seen a steady decline in ATA membership over the past decade for a variety of reasons. We, and by we I really mean all of us, we need to work to bring our colleagues under the ATA umbrella and encourage them to join the association. Although the cost of dues may appear to be high to some when they first consider joining, I'm a firm believer that the cost of not being an ATA member is much greater. Individual board members work on many specific tasks: member education, certification, podcasts, advocacy, PR, divisions and chapters, and many other areas. But the board as a whole contributes to more overarching strategic discussions and decisions that affect our profession. Since I have been a part of this industry for over 30 years, I feel I can bring a historical perspective to our discussions, and this is important when we look to weather the many storms that we are facing. As we take on challenges related to MT and AI, I feel that I have the experience and skills to help us refine the message we are presenting to users and buyers of translation and interpretation. It is vitally important that we stress the linguist-in-the-loop approach to technology and the innovations that are permeating society. I hope to work to enhance future efforts to bring education and training closer to you, our members, regardless of where you reside and the kind of work that you do. Another area where I feel ATA needs to take a leading voice is in pursuing national licensing of translators. I have been involved in legislative work in my home state of Colorado to promote the use of certified translators, and I firmly believe that the future health of our profession will be dependent on working toward national licensing of translation professionals. In closing, I want to stress that we as translators and interpreters are a vital part of communication within society. There may come a day when computers take our place in many settings, but today is not that day, and we need to have the tools and skills to adapt and evolve. Lastly, I'd like to thank you all for being members of ATA and for taking the time to listen to this podcast interview and those from the other candidates. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. I look forward to seeing many of you in Miami, and I humbly ask for your support and your vote.
Hello, my name is Chaowei. I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I teach at the Graduate School of Wake Forest University, where I also serve as the co-director of the Interpreting and Translation Studies graduate program and as the assistant dean for global initiatives. Alongside academia, I co-own a small language and cultural service company with my wife. We specialize in English-Chinese translation and interpreting, as well as offering cultural advisory services. Over the past 20 years, we have served many business clients and academic publishers, both at home and abroad. Holding an MBA, PhD in business administration, and an MA in intercultural services in healthcare has definitely enriched my expertise. This academic foundation has equipped me to specialize in translation domains such as business, education, and intercultural communication. I deeply resonate with the principles of servant leadership and have always prioritized community service in my personal time. Over the years, I've been privileged to serve on the boards of 5 nonprofit organizations, often in foundational roles such as founding chair or as a founding board member. I became a proud member of ATA in 2014 and passed the certification exam within that same year. This certification not only evaluated my professional standing, allowing me to secure my current teaching position, but also facilitated invaluable connections with my clients. To me, ATA isn't just an association, it represents the pinnacle of professional excellence in our field. The certification wasn't just a testament to my capability as a language service provider, but also opened doors to collaborate with some of the industry's foremost translators and interpreters. My dedication to the translation industry and to ATA has consistently grown. In 2021, I took on the mantle of a grader for the certification exam, playing a part in shaping the future of our profession. Additionally, from 2021 to 2023, I had the honor of serving as a founding member of the ATA Basic Credential Committee. This journey reflects not only my commitment, but also my desire to further ATA's mission at a higher level. I'm honored and humbled to be considered for a position on the ATA's board of directors. In my own journey as a translator and as a teacher, it's evident to me that our profession stands at the cusp of a significant evolution. With breakthrough technologies like ChatGPT and other AI-driven tools reshaping our landscape. Given this paradigm shift, I believe ATA needs visionary and proactive leadership now more than ever. That's precisely why I'm stepping forward. While we face challenges in this transformative period, they are equally matched by unprecedented opportunities. My multifaceted experience, built over 2 decades as a translator, educator, entrepreneur, angel founder, and board director, has uniquely positioned me to contribute to these discussions and decisions. I feel the call to serve ATA at this pivotal juncture, and I'm resolute in my commitment. With confidence in my expertise and an unwavering dedication to our association and to our profession, I'm eager to play a role in guiding ATA through this dynamic but promising chapter. Of course, we all have our own constraints related to time and specific expertise. My approach as a potential board member would be collaborative and targeted. If elected, I'm committed to partnering with my esteemed ATA colleagues and concentrate our energies on 3 pivotal areas where I'm confident I can offer the most significant contributions. Number 1, ATA standards. In collaboration with the certification program team, I aim to usher our certification program into the era of artificial intelligence. My objective is to ensure that the ATA standards not only continue to set the bar for human translation, but also stand as the gold standard in the realm of AI translation. Number 2, support for emerging professionals. I'm passionate about amplifying the growth opportunities for our younger members. By enhancing career support and development avenues, I hope to equip them with the tools they need and the opportunities they deserve to thrive in this fast-paced, ever-changing domain. Number 3, strategic collaborations. I envision fortifying ATA's connections with leading language service providers, cutting-edge AI companies, and governmental entities both at home and abroad. Through these strategic alliances, we can pave the way for mutual growth and expanded opportunities for both our members and the larger ATA ecosystem.
Hello, my name is Jessie Liu. I'm a full-time freelance English-Chinese interpreter and translator based in Southern California. I started working as a translator and an interpreter as early as 2015, but I just didn't know that I was doing it, because back then I was working in the capacity of an executive assistant to a Chinese-speaking businessman. 2 years later, in 2017, my then boss reorganized his business and left the US for a different venture. During that period of time when I was unemployed, I took stock of the skills and experience from the previous 2 years and looked into a professional career in interpreting and translation. It was then when I stumbled upon court interpreting. I took and passed the court interpreting certification exam in the end of 2017 and have been working in that capacity for the state and federal courts since then. I also do a lot of work with law firms and individual clients to support their interpreting and translation needs. 2 years after I have been working as a freelance legal interpreter and translator, in 2019, I went back to school to train as a conference interpreter. In the summer of 2021, I graduated with a master's degree in conference interpreting for English and Chinese from the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey. And now I work in both legal and conference side of the T&I realm. It was only about 6 months since I started working as a court interpreter. I met a friend/colleague who was then the administrator of the Chinese language division. Her name is Pensy. Pensy and I got along really well, and she said, this year ATA will hold its annual conference in New Orleans in October. It'll be fun. Do you want to come? So yes, I did have some questions then, such as what is the ATA? What is an annual conference? But instead of asking, I focused on the other things she said, such as in New Orleans, and it'll be fun. So I said yes. So that October came and I went to New Orleans as promised. I didn't have any expectation because I didn't know enough to expect anything. And that ignorance also led me to be very full of myself with a super inflated ego. My former boss always says that if a person thinks the world of himself, that person then needs a bigger world. That ATA conference was the bigger world for me, and I was so humbled by it. And I was made to realize how ignorant I had been and how much there is to learn in this amazing profession called the TNI. And that's not only the reason why I joined ATA, but also the reasons why I stayed. Throughout the years of my membership since 2018, ATA and its annual conferences have been the pit stop on my career journey, where I come in to dust off, to re-energize and regroup, just so I can keep going stronger and faster with the new things I learn from colleagues and the new partnerships and friendships forged. It was instrumental to defining my career as it opened a professional world that I didn't know existed. It brought me empowering resources that practically shaped the professional I am today. As a relatively young member, it wasn't in my plan to run for ATA office this early, but when the nomination came through my email, I was too honored to turn it down. I do feel nervous, as my dainty feet have big shoes to fill, but I'm up for the challenge, and I see that as the only acceptable way to say thank you for your trust and faith in me to those who nominated me for this position. My story with the ATA is a personal one. Unlike many members who found the ATA to be helpful to their career only, my stumbling upon the ATA was life-changing, and its impacts on me extend a lot further beyond just my career as a translator and an interpreter. It offered me a brand new set of mindsets which enabled me to build my career. A well-known Chinese proverb says that the sky is only as big as the opening of the well to the frog that's sitting inside the well. ATA is the ladder that led me from the bottom of the well and became the wind beneath my wings as I grow and soar into the vast sky. It is the door that opened a world of possibilities that I didn't know existed. And for those reasons, ATA is something that my heart holds near and dear, and I wholeheartedly want to keep building and helping guide this great organization so that it can be the inspiration for many others. Any organization is only as strong as its members, and the stronger the organization is, the more proud its members feel belonging to it, and the more likely they are to contribute to make the organization even stronger. So the ATA has done its part for me, and now it is my turn to help build it. My vision is for the ATA to become the authority in the TNI sphere and the symbol of prestige, and that our colleagues list their ATA membership as their professional accomplishment. I would like to work on the public outreach effort to promote ATA as such, from creating awareness in the public to let them know that translation and interpreting is a highly skilled profession, and also to promote to our future and prospective members the value of belonging to a professional organization.
All right, that's a wrap. We'd like to thank everyone who helped produce today's show.
Derek Platts mixed and edited the audio. ATA headquarters provided editorial and technical support.
If you learned anything new in today's podcast, I bet there's someone out there who would like to know it too. Don't be stingy. Tell them about the podcast. I've gotten to know so many great podcasts that way. I promise they'll thank you for it.
And if you're not an ATA member, listen up. I've been a member for over 20 years. Joining ATA literally launched my freelance career. It opened the door to a profession I knew very little about, and attending my first annual conference led to my very first freelance job.
And I joined for the first time in 2004 as a student. My first conference blew my mind. Nowadays, the demand for translators and interpreters is at an all-time high, but finding quality work isn't easy. ATA membership can make the difference. And ATA isn't just for translators and interpreters. We have teachers and professors, hospital administrators, language company owners, and technology developers, just to name a few. Companies and institutions can join too. Our membership includes language companies, universities, and government agencies.
If you'd like to know more, go to ATA's website, atanet.org. You can also check out past episodes of this podcast where we talk about the benefits of membership and what's currently happening in the association.
But before you go, please take a quick moment to give us a rating or write a review. Tell us what you like, why you listen, or about your favorite guest. Your feedback is super helpful, and reviews help other listeners find the show too.
We'd really appreciate hearing from you. Thanks again for listening, everyone. Talk to you again soon.